Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome inside Garage Door Sports, your no-holds-barred weekly discussion on everything in the sporting world. That's right, folks. We are back. Nick McVicker, Irfan Manji joining through the Garage Door Sports Cup phone. Lots to talk about this week. Irfan, how you doing? You ready for this?
Doing good. I'm doing good. It's Saturday morning as usual. How are you?
You know what, man? I'm good. Got to play some hockey last night with my old team. Just kind of nice. Didn't have to worry about it, but got out on the ice, had some fun. Played a really good defensive game, which has become my my staple lately in hockey. I'm no longer a forward who scores lots of goals. I'm a defenseman who stops most of them. Very odd. But man, it's been a busy week in sports, dude.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Leafs struggling in the net. We got TFC playing a really good first game, in my opinion. MLS season has started. Lots of news from around Europe, obviously. But you know what? Let's start with our kickoff segment, sponsored by Canada Kicking Academy. Calling all kickers and punters in the Southern Ontario region. If you are looking for year-round professional development with elite competition, you need to train with the Canada Kicking Academy. The Ferraro brothers, Daniel and Gabe, are both University of Guelph alumni, and after illustrious university careers, they want to take your special teams to the next level. If you want more information, visit them at CanadaKickingAcademy.com or follow them on Instagram at Canada Kicking Academy. And Irfan, we're going to start somewhere where we normally do not go. We do not cover this most of the time. We're talking NFL Combine. And the reason we are talking NFL Combine, my friend, is because the big story from this week, which, by the way, is a ridiculous story that it is an issue for a lot of people. But we're talking player hand sizes. Not play on the field, not play in the combine. No. We're talking player hand sizes. Because Kenny Pickett's hand measured at 8.5 inches and everyone lost their goddamn minds, dude. I want to say I'm shocked by this, but I'm not shocked by this.
Really weird. It's so weird.
It's so funny. And the fact that this guy was like a late first round, high second round draft pick, right? Before the combine. That was what he was projected to go.
Right.
After finding out his hand size of 8.5 inches, he was then projected as a third round pick. He dropped an entire round because of his hand size.
So, question for you then.
Yeah.
What does the hand size have anything to do with pretty much anything? Like, if he can grip the ball well enough, because he's a quarterback, if he can throw the ball well enough, does it really matter how big his hand size is?
I mean, it shouldn't. I agree with you. It really shouldn't. It's weird because I don't think it matters. It shouldn't matter because as you said, as long as he can grip a football and throw a football pretty successfully.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. But
I mean,
for a lot of people it does.
Look, he set the school records in career completions, pass yards, and pass TDs.
Right.
The guy should probably stay in the second round, maybe late first round for a team needing a quarterback.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a little weird.
It's so odd. It
is so, we're talking about speed, we're talking about strength, we're talking about accuracy, and it's like, hold on, let's talk a little bit about hand size and why this quarterback's just going to drop a full round.
Yeah. It baffles me that this is the biggest story coming out of the combine, is that this one quarterback has small hands. Small-ish hands. Now, I can't even say they're necessarily small hands, but small-ish hands.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, well, he can't play in a cold weather location. Why? He played Pitt for 5 years. Right? And I get everyone is going to say fumbles, right? Because I think he had 38 fumbles across 4 years.
Right.
But yes, he had 38 fumbles. But as we just said, he set school records for passing.
All right.
As
So
long
if
as
you're
he can
worried
get
about
on the ball,
fumbles,
it's fine.
if you're worried about fumbles, then that team needs to add, offensive linemen or somebody that's going to make sure he doesn't get caught in pressure. I don't know. Like you have a whole defensive scheme to protect your quarterback. No, like to stop it. Maybe Pitt didn't have that, and it forced fumbles. They could be forced fumbles, not just, "Oops, the ball fell out of my hand."
Yeah. I mean, this
I don't
guy's
know. Like,
from New Jersey,
yeah,
played in Pitt. He knows cold weather. Like, this isn't like not his first rodeo with cold weather people. Like, if you draft him to a cold weather team, you shouldn't worry about him that much because he should be okay. I'm not going to say he will be, but he should be okay.
you're right.
And the fact, it's so annoying to me that this is this biggest fault is that he has a semi small hand. Like, I, I, I
Yeah.
don't get it, Irf. I just don't get it.
Listen, we talk about everything on the show. Now we're talking about small hands. Like I don't, like it's just the range that we have. I guess that's what we should be proud of. But goodness, like
I just don't get it. Like, I understand that, yes, it's a projection, right?
Mhm.
But there's been quarterbacks in the past that have had small hands. Like, we look at Joe Burrow, he only has 9-inch hands, a half inch bigger, right?
Yeah.
Lynn May in the chat is saying Michael Vick had 8.5-inch hands. Michael Vick. Remember how good of a quarterback that guy was before things went sideways?
Hmm.
He was elite.
I mean, I guess
Elite.
people need a story, man. I don't know.
Now, I want to make it very, very clear. Kenny Pickett is no Michael Vick. Okay, Michael Vick was a generational talent as a runner and a passer. He
Right.
literally changed the game and made it dual threat quarterbacks could be a thing in the NFL again, which they
Mhm.
hadn't been for 20 or so years, right? He changed that. But he had 8.5-inch hands and no one worried about him fumbling the football. So why is this such a big deal for this kid? And I don't know. People made a huge deal about Burrow too, with 9-inch hands in his draft year. They said he should retire. He's not going to make it as an NFL quarterback. I'm like, that is the most asinine thing I've ever heard. Is that he won't
Um,
make it because his hands are small.
um, didn't he just make it to the Super Bowl?
Exactly. Like, we're literally talking about a guy who was told that he wasn't going to make it as a quarterback in the NFL because his hands were small, leading his team to a Super Bowl final.
This sounds like one of those comparisons, when in hockey, when it's the smallest guy, probably won't be your best player, but like look at Martin St. Louis,
Yeah.
Brendan Gallagher.
Yeah.
Like list them. Like I can come up with a list of small guys that are undrafted and still or were undrafted as well because of this
Yep.
and ended up becoming great talents.
Right? Like,
So
it's just
the
so
fact that
ridiculous.
we're judging them on hand size, do we
Listen,
need a story
if
or
he
what?
if he gets drafted and then
Yeah.
has sets a record for fumbles, fine. Like, then you can comment on it. But like, it doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
Just like all these people that are worried about how big a guy is coming out of the draft. He's coming out of the draft. Like, if he's overweight slightly, guess what? As soon as he gets to that NFL team that drafted him, they're going to put him through the ringer and he's going to lose probably 20 pounds. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
He's gonna turn that into something else. Also,
right? Like, it's
whatever.
almost a
Right.
guarantee. And yet we're talking about a guy's hand size. Just baffling.
Worry about
Um,
everything.
yeah, we do cover everything, but that's still ridiculous.
No, I meant like they should worry about the positive sides of this game, and then
Yeah.
like you can't fix hand size, yes, but like the fumbles you can fix. Maybe it's a defensive problem.
Yeah. I would also like to point out that he is not the number one quarterback in this draft, right? He's like fourth or fifth,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. He's not projected to be the elite of the elite. But we're talking about hand size, man. I feel like Allen Iverson. I think I've said that so many times. We talking hand size, man. We ain't talking practice. We talking hands. We're not even. That's the worst part about it. We're not even talking about on-field practice. We're not talking about how well this guy's doing at the combine in general. No. We're talking about his hand size.
Yeah. Ran a respectable 4.73 for a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's something that's important
Yeah.
to know. Can you get out of the pocket when you get stuck? That's a good thing to know,
Great question.
right?
And he made some good throws as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, on the throwing drills, so you can't really fault him.
No.
Can't fault him. Speaking of 40 drills, speed was playing a huge factor on day one at the combine. Not necessarily with the quarterbacks, although big shout out to Desmond Ritter. His 4.52 is a very, very good quarterback speed and a 40. We potentially had a record set. It was an unofficial record, and has since been changed. But Tyquan Thornton of Baylor ran an unofficial 4.21 in the 40. It was later corrected to 4.28. But that was pretty impressive. Chris Olave from Ohio State also ran a 4.26, which would have been the fourth fastest time of all time. But it was corrected to 4.39. Now, there's two directions I want to go with this conversation, Irfan.
Yep.
Lots of speed coming out of this draft class. There's no doubt about it, right? And we're seeing Thornton, we're seeing Olave, but we're also seeing like Velus Jones, Calvin Austin, Alec Pierce, Danny Gray, all wide receivers running sub 4.33, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fast. Tight ends had some good times as well. Big dudes running 4.52, 4.61. Like that's impressive stuff. This is going to be a fast draft class, right?
Good. Yeah.
The other thing, how are you off by 7/10 of a second, and for Olave 13/10 of a second?
Yeah. Like I understand maybe the 7/10 of a second because it's like you said, it's a press of stop and
Maybe.
start. But 13 seems as if like did he not start on like at the line? Did he not finish on the line? And that's why you're trying to figure out
Well, they run
the
through
little
the
gap.
line.
Right, but like did he like I don't know, like when did it start? Like
Yeah, I don't get how the discrepancy is that big.
yeah, like I'm okay. I can understand the point 0.7, okay, because that's just a manual
I
thing. But
guess,
like when
yeah.
you get to the 13th, you're getting close to
Almost a
like that just
second and
yeah,
a half,
like,
2 seconds.
yeah,
Or
something
and
like that. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It still seems like I don't remember times being this bad ever. Like times being this off ever in the combine before. I used to watch the combine
Right.
because I would come home from school and there was nothing else on in the afternoon. Nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to watch the combine. I don't remember there ever being unofficial times this bad.
They're still doing it manually, right? Like there's someone who's there clicking
Well,
and
there
stopping.
is they are set up to do it properly, like electronically, but it is still semi-manual.
Okay. Is there
Um,
somebody pressing start and stop?
like it's still weird to me. Like I just don't get how that could be that big of an issue, right? Like
This sounds like a let's tag the players with a chip, like a little collar strip or something,
put it
and
in
then
their
just have
shoe.
it or something like that. Yeah, like just have it there, and then you can use AI to uh, keep up with it or some sort of a robotic process automation
Yeah.
to catch up to it. Like I think that could be the future. Hey, next project, let's go. You me thesis project developing.
I don't want to write a thesis.
I'll write it. You help me come up with
I'm
it.
not letting you write another thesis. That would just be mean. Just finished one.
But there's so many things that you can do with like even fob keys that run across.
Yeah, I know. I'm
So
aware.
I know. I just think it's a little unfortunate where maybe he did beat the record.
No, because they go back and check it. So that's the one where like the official time came out as 4.28. So
Right.
he didn't beat the record. It's still the sixth fastest dash in
Hmm.
combine history. So
Yeah.
like The guy can't move. The record is currently at 4.22, run by John Ross, back in 2017, who shocked the world with his time. No one expected that from him.
The fast class though, which is something that I think a lot of defenses better be careful because
Yeah,
I don't
and
want to.
we have not seen the defense like the cornerbacks and stuff like that yet. So that could be interesting. Also, some running back times came out yesterday. A lot of 4.37, 4.38, 4.42, 4.43 as well.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a slow class. They're gonna be vying for some pretty quick players coming out of this. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Continuing the NFL conversation quickly, Irfan, and I'm really tired of this conversation, but we gotta have it because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We can't figure out where the hell he wants to play, and it's really, really frustrating. But Aaron Rodgers, it just continues to be Aaron Rodgers. And I saw a tweet and I laughed so hard this morning that Aaron Rodgers is more dramatic than Brett Favre. And I just laughed. I'm like, it's so true, though. It is so true. He is being way more dramatic than Brett Favre, and Brett Favre set the record for QB dramatics on his way in and out of Green Bay. It's just ridiculous. Like this is getting to a point where I don't know if I even want him back on Green Bay. Like obviously he's the best option. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just getting to the point where, like, if you don't want to be here, just freaking leave. We don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Make a decision, grow up, and do what you want to do. We're not dealing with you being a little baby anymore. Right? Like, I don't know what else to say at this point. You just have to make a decision so that every side can move on. Your new team can get set, put a game plan together for you. Green Bay can get set with trying to figure out who they want to play quarterback if you leave, right? Or if you stay, they can put the game plan together for the free agency. Like, just make a decision so everyone can move forward with their lives. Jeez.
Yeah. Like I don't think the Packers are going to make that final decision because
They can't.
they can't. But if they do make that decision, then they need to look for another quarterback, essentially. But
Exactly.
the fact that, like, I think Rodgers making that decision, but also like the whole issue with the COVID vaccine, the whole COVID mandates thing, like it kind of like I think teams are like maybe a little worried about
Doesn't
that,
matter
and
anymore.
they
They've
shouldn't matter.
removed them. They've removed all the
Right,
mandates
but
in the
it's like
NFL.
right. No, I get that, but it's like, do you trust a player who may,
Do you trust
I
the
don't know,
reigning
maybe it's a
MVP?
probably do. I'm just putting some. I'm trying to think of something why this guy isn't moving.
Well, no, because he
Is it?
hasn't told Green Bay what he wants to do yet. That's why there's been no deal made, is because he hasn't made the decision where he wants to play. And until he does that, Green Bay can't move him.
No.
Right? Or Green Bay can't plan to have him. Like until he tells them where he wants to play, Green Bay is handcuffed because he's technically still under contract for the next year. It's not like he's free agent.
To speed this up, either call him and tell him we're trading you to Jacksonville. Please give us an answer,
He has a
and
no
maybe
trade
look at
clause.
just scare him. I don't know. I'm trying to get an answer out of him because this happened last season, last off season when we are trying to figure out what's happening this off season. I don't know. I mean, worst comes to worst, he stays. Like I don't think that's a.
What's the thing? Like he's the best option for the Packers at quarterback right now. Like no offense, I don't trust Jordan Love yet. Do I think Jordan
No.
Love could be a good quarterback in the NFL? Absolutely, I do. I think he has the tools to do it. Do I think he's ready to be a good quarterback in the NFL? Absolutely not. He's not. He's not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
So Rodgers is the best quarterback for the Green Bay Packers right now. But is it worth dealing with this stupidity? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. It's
Okay,
really
well, if he does,
frustrating.
So if he leaves, where do you see him potentially ending up, or a good fit for him?
Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk said that the top 3 teams in Aaron Rodgers' mind is the Broncos, the Steelers, and the Titans.
Right.
Right? Broncos have obviously said that they've wanted him for a while, so that's not really a surprise. The Steelers, with Big Ben no longer there, they need a quarterback. There's no offense, Dwayne Haskins, I don't think is the answer in Steeltown. That's why Kenny Pickett's been linked as a draft pick for the Steelers. Kind of makes sense. The Titans, I'm a little bit surprised by because they have Derrick Henry, and having Aaron Rodgers would take away from Derrick Henry. Does that make sense? Like,
It does make sense. The run game would change.
yeah. Or you just
Yeah.
wouldn't get the most out of Aaron Rodgers if you're just handing the ball off all the time. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what Mike Florio's saying. He's also been linked to the Raiders, the 49ers, the Bucks, Washington Commanders, which I will not get comfortable
Well,
saying that
so
name.
so a tweet came out yesterday and went, the Commanders want Russell Wilson or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, who are the Commanders? What? And why does like a non-NFL
They
team
tried to
want
trade a first round pick for Russell Wilson.
multiple first round picks or something? Yeah. But when they said that, I was like, wait, is this like the XFL team wanting what?
I know. I thought the
And
same.
then I
It
remembered
just sounds so weird. I honestly,
Yeah,
regarding that name change, we're going off topic here, but I
that's
kind
fine.
of like where this is going. Regarding that name change, I preferred the Washington football team.
Yes.
Like, if you're not, I didn't really like Commanders. I would have been fine with a Washington Wolfpack
Yeah, that's cool.
or something like that. But the Commanders just, I know why they did it. I get the logic behind it, but it doesn't flow properly. Right? It doesn't
Give it a
sound.
couple
It
years though.
sounds wrong.
Give it a couple years. It could be a situation where it rings well, or it could be a situation where we call the Rodgers Center Skydome still.
I've been broken for Scotiabank Arena though. I never thought I would
Oh,
get comfortable calling it Scotiabank Arena, but because of work, I now am calling it Scotiabank Arena.
right. It's not the ACC.
It's no, it still is the ACC in my head,
Yeah.
but I've been broken, and I now have to call it Scotiabank Arena, and it kind of like breaks my heart, man.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I hope Rodgers can just make a decision. Sorry, back to the Rodgers conversation. I hope
Yeah.
Rodgers can just make a decision so that all sides of this, whoever ends up with him, can start moving forward. Green Bay can start moving forward. He can start moving forward. I'm just tired of this back and forth saga of bull crap.
Yeah.
Because it's just useless.
I mean, whatever team he goes to has to also recognize he's 38. How many years does he have left? 2, 3? That's something to also
Well, I mean,
take
it
a
depends on
gander
how
at.
long he plays. Because how long did Brady play? 44? He could still have 5 years,
It could.
right? Like, it's not like he's
Unimaginable?
done.
No.
Not
But it's also
realistic.
taken into consideration, right? Like if he goes to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh has to be aware, like, yeah, we just lost a veteran quarterback at a high 30s age or whatever.
Yeah.
We're gonna get another one. What are we gonna get out of him?
Yeah,
And I
but if he
mean,
goes to
Rodgers is
Pittsburgh, they're
better
still.
than
But if he goes to Pittsburgh, they're still drafting a quarterback. They're probably
yeah.
still drafting Kenny Pickett,
hmm
right? And he'll sit behind Rodgers for 2-3 years until Rodgers retires, and then he'll take over.
Yeah.
They
Which is smart.
don't have anybody right now that could do that.
hmm
So yeah.
Yeah, fair.
That'll do it for our kickoff segment, sponsored by Canada Kicking Academy. If you're looking for more information, visit them at CanadaKickingAcademy.com or on Instagram at Canada Kicking Academy. Irfan, we're going to keep it rolling for now. We're going to jump into the Leafs conversation because, buddy, it's been ugly for the goaltending of the Leafs. And I wish that it wasn't this way, but That's the way it is. And I don't know who they can trust right now in the net. Don't know. Which is not a good sign
No.
going down the stretch.
How much of it do you think is associated to Muzzin not being in the lineup?
Well, not much.
Yeah.
Because since how far back should I go? I want to go. Well, let's go to December. December 1st, my friend. Not a single Leafs goalie has an above 900 save percentage. Campbell and Mrazek are
Yes,
at 893, both of them. They're
that
both
is
above
yes.
3 goals against. Not good enough. We've one shutout since December 1st. One. Uno. Singular shutout.
You look at that, and then you look at the offensive stats continuing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We've played, the two of them have played or have started a combined 30 games and won 19 of them, including 3 overtime losses. So you've
Yeah.
gotten points in 22 of the 30 games since December 1st.
Mhm.
But you're not getting the key saves, which in the regular season might not play a huge factor. Come playoff time, it plays a massive factor. There has been goals this week that should never go in.
Shouldn't be
Last
trading
weekend
goals
against
with
Detroit
Detroit.
was awful.
Hey, you shouldn't be trading goals with Detroit. Sorry.
No,
No offense to the Red Wings, but you should not be trading.
no. And hey, full credit to the Red Wings. They're having a much better year than they normally do.
Yeah.
I think they're what, 5th in the division right now?
Just yeah,
So they're
playing
having a
good hockey.
they're having a
Yeah.
good year. They're not going to make the playoffs.
No, but compared to the last 3 years under Blashill, it's been
Yeah,
probably their best season.
absolutely. And a lot of people want to point out that, oh, well, the defense hasn't been playing well. I don't know if that's actually the case. And the reason that I say that is because most of the goals that like a lot of the goals that I've seen over the last week at least, and I'm gonna focus on the last week. And Muzzin
Yeah.
hasn't been there. But they haven't been like grade A scoring chances. Their
No, they've
shots
been softies
have
that just
been
get through the pads, that have
yeah.
gone through the blocker side. It's just the positioning is off. You're like, ooh, you gotta cut the corner if you're a keeper there. You gotta sorry, goaltender. You have to come out a little bit more, like be a little aggressive, take away the net. They're not doing that.
No, they're not. And it's like I'm not saying the defense has been lights out. Don't get me wrong. Like they've been giving up shots, but a lot of the shots have been coming from the outside. That
Yeah.
Tom Wilson's second goal against the Caps, where he came down the wing and just shot it far post. Like, yeah, he probably put it in one of the best spots to do it, but he was outside of the circle.
Mhm. I will give the Leafs defense credit
Yeah,
that they're trying to keep things away from the middle of the ice. But everything that's it's just come out like when your minor league coach tells you put everything on net, good
yeah.
things happen when you put it on net, and that's what's happening. And the Leafs are the goaltending is leaky. That's what
Yeah.
I'm seeing. It's really sad.
It's it's
It's
really
it's
tough to watch because I don't
yeah.
think that they're this bad.
No, no. Offensively, they look really good. That Marner line is clicking. Uh, John Tavares is driving the net really well right now. I do like the fourth line with Spezza and Simmons playing together.
Yeah.
Andre Kasha's getting his shot back, which is really good. So like we're missing these really good positive things about the Leafs because we're worried about the fact that Jack Campbell, who stole things for them last season, can't do it this season.
Yeah. I just it's
It's his
really
contract
hard to
year, and he's
figure
kind
this
of
it's
playing it.
just really hard to figure this team out right now.
Mhm. It's like every season there's a new thing that's an issue, right? Like last year was the run and gun style, defense not being good enough. The year before it's like the forwards aren't showing up in games, and this year it's goaltending. So it's just like
And like it's a scary stat when you look at the goal saved above average. Um Campbell's at 9.6. So that's not terrible. It's not
Mhm.
incredible, but it's not terrible. Peter Mrazek is a negative 6.9 goals saved above average. So he's letting in almost 7. He's let in almost 7 more goals than the average goaltender would have in the same starts. As a team, they're at 0.7 goals saved above average. So they're getting, literally, they are getting average goaltending.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, that's blowing my mind. That was
It,
not the conversation last.
no, it's not.
No.
And I don't know where it comes down to because at the beginning of the year, Campbell was lights out. Right? The first 2 months, he was incredible.
Hmm.
But that's not what we're talking about now. We are talking
Mm.
about him being questionable.
Yeah. And it isn't just a 2-week period. This is since December, like the stat that you pulled out earlier.
Yeah.
This is a almost a 4-month issue.
Yeah. Like this isn't a 1 or 2 week thing anymore.
No.
Like we were all saying,
No.
oh, it's just a slump. Oh, it's just a slump, right? It's now a 3-month slump. Right? Before, just to put this into perspective, before December 1st, Jack Campbell had a 943 save percentage and a 172 goals against. Now you compare that to the what did I say, 898 or 893
Yeah.
save percentage
Something like
since
that.
December 3rd, and a 357 goals against average. Something's not right. Something's not
And
right.
then you also get shellacked against Buffalo. That also was
Yeah,
difficult. Right?
but that one, the whole team just forgot what they were doing.
Fair.
They just weren't paying attention against Buffalo. And you know what? Sometimes those games happen. I'm okay with a bad game, right? But when the team is, when I think the players are playing well, and it's the goalie that's kind of letting you down,
Hmm.
that's an issue,
Yeah, I'm just going back to see a couple of the Leaf games.
right?
They've
Like
played well,
they've
maybe in
played well.
theory. Yeah, like they've played that the game against the Wild was very well done.
Yeah,
The game against who did they? I just saw them.
Detroit
Going
was
back.
an interesting game. I will say that. Like as you said, you shouldn't be going back and forth with the Red Wings, but at the same time, like it was just one of those games. But the offense was firing, so
Hmm.
it didn't really matter.
Like they could have won that game 7-1. It could have that's just suffocate the other team.
7-2. They were up 7-2.
7-2, sorry, yeah. 7-2, 6-1,
I'll give
whatever. But
7-2.
still.
Um,
And then
yeah, the game against Montreal was also a dud. You're allowed to have a handful of dud games throughout the season, right?
yeah. I think the thing is maybe not at this point in time though. There's maybe a month and a half left of the season. You have to be beating these teams that are no playoff teams. That's the thing. Like you beat the Caps and you beat the Wild, who are very good teams this season, but then lose to Buffalo and Montreal, and allowed 5 goals in both those games. You kind of go, these are, sorry, there's no gimme games, but this is a gimme game. You're a very good team. You're better than both teams. You should be winning these games,
You should. But you know what? Like
especially down the stretch.
every big team though has those games against a team that they shouldn't lose to. Colorado has lost twice to Arizona this year,
Yeah. I
right?
mean,
It
every team
happens.
has that one team they lose to. I get it. But like you can't, like a little bit more needs to come out of that game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not denying that. I
No?
agree with you.
It's like the
Um,
Raptors. The Raptors are good against a lot of the bigger teams and then lose to Detroit 3 times in the season. That's a different story.
the Dwayne Casey factor. Um,
Ah,
yeah, no, I agree with you, and they need to figure something out, and I don't think the answer is to go get a goalie in the trade market either. Like I don't think that's the
mhm.
solution to this problem because I don't think it really matters. You're not going to get an elite goalie in the trade. It's just not going to happen. Everyone's like, oh,
Well,
well,
no,
what about Marc Andre Fleury? Okay, what are you going to have to give up to get Marc Andre Fleury?
Yeah, I mean Chicago knows the Leafs need a goaltender, so hello.
Yeah,
Let's
and they're
drive up the
looking
price.
to rebuild. Their GM just said that. The new GM just said that. Well, listen, everybody's available. Taves and Kane have been made available. So no, you're not getting Marc-Andre Fleury. And after him, who else is available that is an elite goaltender? Bueller? Yeah, nobody. I understand. It's exactly my point.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm like,
Nobody. There's nobody. Because all the other teams have two goalies that they want to keep because playoffs, usually you need two goalies lately. Think about all the
yeah,
teams that have won recently,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
We've
Pittsburgh comes to
seen.
mind.
Huh?
Pittsburgh comes to mind.
Pittsburgh? Yep.
Vegas's run comes to mind.
Yep.
I mean, Tampa Bay just as fast, and they're just wonderful that way. But
Yes, but they're an elite team at every position.
yeah,
But we're talking like a team
Matt
that does.
Murray. Would you go get Matt Murray?
No.
If he play, hey, hold on. If he plays
No.
for a better team, no.
No. I don't want to give either Campbell or Mrazek to Ottawa and have them fucking show out like they're great. Pardon my language.
It'd be great. James Reimer.
I could see Reimer, but what do you have to give up? Because he's having a good year. On a really, really bad team, by the way.
Sharks go, you want Optimus Ryan? We get Matthews. That's it.
Yeah, I don't think that one would fly.
A desperate are the Leafs.
Reimer's at .916 save percentage with a .284 goals against on the season.
Oh, he's
on
been
a very not
making,
good San Jose team.
No. Making unreal saves.
Yeah, he's looked really good. Could I see James Reimer coming back? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. The other thing is what's his contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he is sitting at a 225 cap hit.
It's a reasonable cap. Like if you send Mrazek the other way, let's say, then you can.
Yeah, you can make it work.
Money.
He also has a modified no trade clause, so he might put Toronto on that no trade clause. Wonder what I don't know what his no trade clause is though.
Okay.
Includes a 5-team no trade list. So he submits his 5 teams that he will not be traded to. So I mean, maybe
looking over to the Isles, like, would you take a bite at Varlamov?
I would, but it wouldn't go very well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
The Islanders aren't going to because they don't have an elite team in front of them. So they're going to probably need both goaltenders down the stretch.
I mean, you're getting Mrazek or Campbell the other way. I mean, maybe not Campbell, probably Mrazek.
I still don't see it happening. Just because. I don't.
Did you go to Boston and go get Tuukka Rask's rights? No.
No, because he can't play.
No, I'm kidding. He's not coming.
He can't play. That's the problem.
Like I'm also thinking of other Canadian teams that need goaltending as well, right? Like the market is very thin for available goaltenders, but like Edmonton needs an upgrade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can see Fleury being a potential option for the Oilers instead of
it's a much more realistic option.
Hmm.
Much more realistic. So, yeah, I don't know where they go.
They're linked to more defensive options. I think that's what
and that's
right?
And that's where they're going to go. And that's ironically, Lynn May just wrote that in the chat there, Irfan. So you're ahead of the game here, my friend. Yeah, defense is probably the target. I don't know who they get though.
Can I suggest the name? I was actually thinking about this, and it's probably way out in left field, but I know I wasn't in that conversation with you and Kyle. This player, Ready?
I'm
Zdeno
I'm
Chara.
always ready. No, go
No, let me
away.
tell you why. Let me tell you why. He doesn't have to play and eat your minutes too much, but having a locker room presence for someone who knows how to get past the first round and also who's going to expect a lot from your teammates at a high level, why not? And I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but I'm just saying that why not bring in someone who knows the playoffs, knows the grind, and knows what to ask of his players, even if he doesn't play 20 minutes a night. Ask
Listen,
me a question. Yes.
if this was 2 years ago,
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
But can you tell me that Chara will walk into the Leafs dressing room and be able to connect with this team?
I feel like he can, but I've also seen him play in my on my team for 10 years
Right.
or
With
more.
what age group of people? Think
Guys,
about think about this
yeah,
Leafs team though, right? This is
no, I get
not
that.
Boston.
I get that. I'm just saying that when you bring in that one presence that everyone goes, damn, I can actually like that's somebody I would listen to because if JT listens to him because he already knows Chera,
Yeah,
I'm just
but
I'm just trying to think of a way for the Leafs to get over that first round hurdle,
yeah,
which looks like it's going to be Tampa Bay in the first round, and I think
Tampa or
bringing
Florida.
right like it's going to be one of the better teams in that division. Why not bring in a veteran presence? Like bring someone in that's going to demand that level of play needs to come up, or uh, JT or Matthews or Marner or Nylander are struggling in the first two games of the playoff series. Why not just have someone sit down beside them and go, "Hey, here's how to try and get out of this situation." Like he's seen Ovi in the playoffs. He's seen Marchand in the playoffs when he was struggling. He's seen Pasternak in the playoffs. David Krejci. Like the list goes on of players who have gone through the ups and downs in the playoffs, and they've always bounced back. Maybe it's not just because of Chera, but at least having someone to be like, "This is what I've seen. Why don't we try this tonight and try and get them over that hump?" Like I really want to see the Leafs win a playoff series this year.
Yeah. Here's my question though, Irfan.
Sure.
What parent? I need you to answer the question before I can go further into this. If
Sure.
the Leafs somehow get Chara,
Yeah.
what pairing does he play on right away?
Sandy.
Which is what, your third pair?
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need third pair. We have the three guys that play third pair.
Right.
What the Leafs need right now is a top four defenseman, preferably
Mm-hmm.
a top two, but depending on who you bring in, Brody would probably slide back with Riley,
Mm-hmm.
right? The only reason he's
Yeah.
playing second pair right now is because Muzzin's out and they're trying to split those two up because they're our two best defensemen right now.
Correct.
They need a top four guy. A guy who is a legit top four guy and might be a top four guy for a few years because we have a lot of defensemen who can slide in and out of that top four, but are more realistically right now third pairing defensemen. Liljegren,
Right.
Dermott, Sandin, even Hall, right?
Right. Yeah. And I don't disagree with you on that factor. The issue though is teams know what the Leafs want,
Yes.
and that market is going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
And I think
You have to do
what
it.
are they willing? I know, but what are they willing to give up?
Muzzin.
They're willing to trade Jake Muzzin to get a top four defenseman or
Yes.
top two defenseman. Okay. What
Sorry,
about
let me correct that. I am.
What about the next year where half the money is tied up in five players? That top two defenseman is going to ask for a boatload of cash.
That's why you get a guy like Chikrin who has at least, I think he's at least another. Let me confirm that before I say that out loud.
Yeah.
Oh, let me correct that. He has 3 more years at 4.6.
So basically, what Vardy said was they should have got Labushkin and Chikrin at
The
the same
problem
time.
was they couldn't.
Yeah.
They didn't have the cap space.
No.
They have the cap space right now with Muzzin on LTIR. So, preferably, and I said this last week to Kyle on the show, is that what you do is you set 2 trades in place with Arizona if you're smart, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them to get Chikrin right now, and another to send Muzzin back in the offseason. Because you can't keep them both in the offseason. But assuming Muzzin is gone for the remainder of the regular season, but you want to keep him around for playoffs, because let's not sugarcoat it. Like, Muzzin is a top 4 defenseman on this team.
Agreed.
He might not be playing great right now, but he is a top 4 defenseman on this team. And when it comes to playoffs, you need a guy like him to be able to shut somebody down.
Yeah.
So you keep him around. Keep him around.
Mm-hmm.
You bring Chychrun in.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the offseason, you ship Muzzin out. Because you got to. You got to ship him out. I don't think he's the answer next season. But for this season, he can help in the playoffs because you're not going to get 2 guys. It's not going to happen.
Mm.
So they need to go get a top player like Jake Chychrun and make it work.
Yeah, I can see that happening too. I was just trying to give another option to get a better voice in the locker room.
Right, and I understand bringing in a voice, but Chara's not doing a whole lot. Right now.
No, he's not. I think he needs a change in scenery as well.
And I don't think it's worth the Leafs going out to get a voice at this point. Because all the guys know. It's not like they're unaware of what's happened in the playoffs over the last few years, right? They were there, most of them. They know exactly what's going on. So bringing in a player just to be a voice doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing in a player who happens to be a voice but is also very productive, that would make more sense to me.
It would, but the market for one of those might be very steep for the Leafs. Absolutely. That's what I'm just worried about.
But at this point, the Leafs are all in. They have to be all in. You got to go all in. You can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
Because eventually players are going to want to leave. At the end of contracts, guys are going to leave. You can't win. If they can't figure out how to win, the team will be without many players. Mikheyev probably won't sign next year. That's way out of left field already. I know we're looking way ahead. I don't think Mikheyev signs back next year.
No. Players want to go in there and win and not be in the same cycle.
Clifford probably doesn't sign back next year because he's not playing.
No.
Engvall probably, he's an RFA, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of question marks if they don't get out of the first round.
There'll be a lot of question marks if they don't go to the conference final.
See, my goal for them is to get to the second round. Like the conference final, that's the team that they have should technically be at the conference final.
Yeah.
But winning one series is, I think, a win for them right now.
Realistically, though, like this is another conversation I want to get.
Sure.
The East is going to be an absolute gong show in the playoffs because there are probably 5 very scary teams in the East.
Yep.
Whereas in the West, it's very unbalanced. Right? Am I wrong in saying that? Like the East is so much better.
It's very different to a couple years ago where the West was like everyone's going to beat each other up and then come banged into the Stanley Cup Finals. And the last 2 years, I think the East has been a lot better.
A lot better.
Like you probably won't get Carolina, Pittsburgh at one point, right? You're going to get Washington just having a good year. New York's having a good year, right?
As long as they can get as long as Washington can get their goaltending figured out, they're having a good year.
Yeah, and then the 2 Florida teams. That's 6 solid teams that have enough depth, enough goaltending. Maybe question mark around Washington, like you said, but enough depth to be going to deep into the playoffs.
Right. Just to put this into perspective about how dominant the East has been. Boston, who is currently sitting in 4th in the Atlantic, 7th in the East overall, would be 3rd in the West. right? Second in
Mhm.
both divisions in the West. Colorado is 18 points clear, 14 points clear of second in their division and 13 points clear of second in the conference. 13 points clear of second in the conference.
Mhm.
There is a 14-point gap between first and eighth in the East. Colorado has that gap in their division. If you take Colorado out of the West, does any team in the West scare you?
Calgary. I've been really impressed by Calgary.
I've
Which,
been
by the way,
very
Calgary and Colorado tonight.
yes, I have been impressed with Calgary, so I will correct my statement. If you take Colorado and Calgary out of the West, does any team remaining scare you?
Maybe Mini, and that's
Okay,
it. Maybe Mini.
maybe Vegas if they're healthy. Like, but it's a lot of maybes.
Yeah.
If you take the top two teams in the divisions, Tampa and Carolina, out of the East, I'm still terrified. Like, I don't want to play Florida.
Nope.
I don't really want to play Pittsburgh.
Nope.
I don't want to play New York because Shesterkin has been so good. It's like Vasilevsky on, I will, albeit a slightly weaker team.
Mm-hmm.
But when it doesn't really matter when it comes to playoffs. When you have a top goaltender, it's elite. I don't even really want to play Boston because despite the fact that I would say their goaltending hasn't been like crazy good. Although, give Swayman credit, he was the rookie of the month last month. I'll give him credit. But it's not the goaltending that they used to have. It's not Tuukka Rask. It's not Tim Thomas.
No, they
Right?
have a good platoon. Remember that question about Linus Allmark that I asked a few months back?
Yeah,
He's delivered.
he
I'll give
has.
him that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll
Yeah.
give you credit for that, buddy.
Yeah.
Um, but I just don't know where they go from here. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the West because the West is not good.
No.
Like,
I mean, you
if
might get the Blues who wake up in the playoffs and end up like steamrolling people.
maybe, right? Dallas is 7-2-1 over the last 10 games, but they're still 5 points back a second. They're in a playoff spot, but they're 5 points back at second. Nashville, who was a huge surprise at the beginning of the year, has fallen off the face of the earth. Anaheim, same thing. Both of them are 3-6-1 over the last 10. I mean,
Vancouver under Bruce Boudreau's playing better hockey.
absolutely. They're 7-3
Is
in
it?
their last 10 as well.
Yeah.
So,
Is there any reason that they can't get ahead of Edmonton? Probably if Edmonton doesn't fix their goaltending situation in
yeah,
the playoffs.
it's totally possible. It's like, that's the thing. Like, the questions in the West are who's going to make the playoffs because there's a lot of teams that are like, they're okay, they're good, like, but none of them scare me.
Nope.
I'm still baffled by the 14 points clear in the Central. Like, that is ridiculous. I mean, it shows how good Colorado's been. Don't get me wrong.
No. They're just playing complete hockey. Like very good hockey.
Yeah. Best goal differential in the league.
Yeah.
Most goals for, I believe. Sorry, second most goals for. Trailing only Florida, who, by the way, I was not expecting to be a goal scoring power. I thought they just weren't going to give up goals. Turns out they're both.
Got some talent. Yep.
Like, there's just the
Yeah.
questions in the East are which team do you want to play?
Well, if you're the Leafs, who do you want to play? Washington?
I'm the Leafs. In the division, if I'm the Leafs, I want to play Boston,
Right.
which is crazy to say.
Very crazy to say.
If you've ever asked a Leaf fan who they want to play in the playoffs, Boston is usually not the first team that comes out of their mouth.
No.
It's literally a battle for first. Whichever team gets first gets the easiest round.
Which is Washington, currently.
Wouldn't it be Boston? Okay, I'm always confused by the
No,
wild card. If there's one wild card from each division, I thought they play within their division.
no, it's so right now, um, Carolina would get Washington because they have
They
the
have the
most
most
points,
points. Yeah.
and Tampa would get Boston. But if let's say the Atlantic is better, like the top team is, then they'll get Washington.
Well, if
It
Washington
goes, it
has less
goes,
points.
yeah, it goes. Best team gets the worst wild card, and then second best gets the.
I thought, for some reason, I thought if
No,
there
you
was
don't.
one from each.
Well, that's why the Leafs had to play Washington a couple years ago. Remember in that first round
You mean
because of that
Columbus?
whole. No, no. Remember when they played Washington a few years ago under Babcock, where the Caps were first, and then Leafs made the second wild card, and so they had to play each other. And
Oh
then
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right.
same thing with the, well, like the Columbus series was different
The the COVID
because of the
tournament.
bubble.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially that's what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's gonna be, regardless, it's gonna be a gong show.
East
It's
was
gonna
good.
be a
Like,
battle to the end.
yeah, usually I always tell you the West games captivate me, but like that Carolina Pittsburgh game last night, like, oh, that's some playoff hockey going on right there.
The Colorado Calgary game is gonna be fun tonight.
It's gonna be fun tonight. Yeah.
It'll be good. All right, dude. You know what? Let's wrap this bad boy up.
Yep.
Tire fire time.
Sure.
You have a good one, so hit us with it.
Sure. It's Leafs goaltending. We spent a solid 35 minutes on it, but it's Leafs goaltending. Like I said at the top of the show there, or earlier in the segment, it was the forwards are an issue, the defense was an issue, now it's goaltending, and I really hope they get this fixed, especially if they want to keep winning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Can't really add much more. We've already kind of dominated that conversation.
Yeah, that's fine.
My tire fire.
Hmm.
This one's also a very good one. Bill Mickelson. Period.
Yes.
End of conversation. Bill Mickelson by himself has been an absolute tire fire this week. Actually, for the past couple of weeks. We can go back to those comments that he made about the Saudi Golf League. Those, in and of itself, were ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, he has been put on blast by Rory McIlroy, which was hilarious, by the way. He apologized for his comments, stated that he was going to take a bit of a lengthy break to reset.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this week, he posted something about winning the, what is it? PIP. Can't remember what. Hold on. Let me get it right. PGA Player Impact Program, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which is basically like who has the most social media coverage in the year.
Right. Right.
He came out and said that he had won. Literally came out and said, "Yep, I'm winning." And then it came out that he didn't win. Tiger won. Tiger won the $8 million prize for this. And Tiger put him on blast. Like, took a screenshot of his tweet, Mickelson's tweet, and put, whoops.
Not having a good couple weeks.
I don't even know how do you come back from that?
That lengthy break should be a year or more.
And then to add on to it, I'm not even done. He is missing the Players' Championship upcoming. So he's been going through all this stuff off the course, and now he's missing the Players' Championship as well. Just not an ideal week for Mr. Phil Mickelson there. Not an ideal couple weeks, but we'll call it a week. Final thought now, Irfan, hit it up.
Sure. Bodog came out with their all-time Canadian athlete ranking, which I'm questioning some names. Also wondering why Christine Sinclair isn't on it. If you get a chance, I'm going to retweet it now or after the end of the show. So if you get a chance, you can chime in, or if you're in our chat now, please chime in on what you think or who you agree with and who you disagree with. I mean, Terry Fox is number one.
No problem with that one. That one can stay.
Wayne Gretzky's two, Clara Hughes, Mario Lemieux, Steve Nash, Haley Wickenheiser, Sidney Crosby, Mike Weir, George St. Pierre, and Bret Hart are your top 10. So let us know what you think about that. A little caught off guard because Christine Sinclair is the highest scoring international player of all time. And I say all time because she's ahead of everybody, even the men's. So a little surprised that that's not there. A couple names that are being thrown out by some fans have been Marie-Philippe Poulin, who's just a fantastic hockey player. Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer, sorry, for their figure skating championship. I always think they're married. I'm sorry. Andre DeGrasse, Donovan Bailey, Clara Hughes is already on there. So a lot of names are getting tossed out. Let us know what you think. But caught off guard that there's no Sinclair.
Yeah, Sinclair should be on there.
Yep.
I love Mike Weir, but I don't think Mike Weir should be on the top 10. And they have him 8, so what do I know? But yeah, no, I agree with you. Sinclair should be on there. I don't know if some of the other names you listed are there yet.
No.
I also think, I hate to say this, but I think Clara Hughes is a little high on that list at number 3. I know she's the most decorated Canadian athlete at the Olympics of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, first of all, I think Sinclair should be 3. I think it should be Fox, Gretzky, Sinclair.
I have no problem with that one.
I then think it should be Steve Nash for what he's done for the game of basketball in this country alone, let alone what he actually did on the court. So my top 10, we're going to do it quickly. Fox, Gretzky, Sinclair, Nash, Wickenheiser, Lemieux. See, this is where I have problems. I'll probably put Clara Hughes after that. Then Crosby, then St. Pierre, then Bret Hart.
Fair.
Right. And I know a lot of people are going to be saying, oh, well, why is a wrestler Bret Hart there? Well, he was an incredible athlete. This guy was insane. So I think he deserves to be there. We're getting Damian Warner in the chat, by the way.
Damian Warner, Cindy Klassen.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who, like, we've had elite athletes in this, but if you're doing a top 10, you got to do the top of the top, right? I love Damian Warner. I love his story.
Of course.
But he's had one, like, super year of success. Maybe 2.
Yeah, I mean,
like, we're talking people, like, other than Terry Fox, all the other people that we've mentioned have been elite for multiple years. This is not a one-off.
No. Oh, no, you're not wrong. I mean, I think we can debate a top 10. I mean, the fact that there's a 1 to 10 is always going to have a debate.
Exactly. And that's fine.
Right? So, somebody tweeted Christine Sinclair, Donovan Bailey, Christine Sinclair,
Bodog did.
Bret Hart. Yeah. Oh, it is Bodog. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, because Arash Madani mentioned that Christine Sinclair should be on the list.
Yeah.
And Bodog decided to troll Arash Madani. I was like, that's the person you decide to troll with?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah. Comments here that's, try and get some, Willie O'Ree could be a name to toss in there if you wanted to, with, I guess, his connection to hockey and being the legacy that was there.
Listen, I love Willie O'Ree's story. Billy. I don't know why I said Billy. Willie O'Ree's story. He's an absolutely incredible advocate for the game. Can you tell me who he was an elite player in the league?
He was an elite player when he played in the NHL?
No. No. Right? That's my point. Like, yes,
what
he did for the game is you can't. It's immeasurable. But to say he was one of the greatest athletes, period, you can't really say.
Yeah, I mean, people are tossing Iggy's name there, Jerome McGillna.
That one
Some
I would
baseball
have it.
names.
That one I would have an easier time defending.
Larry Walker's name getting tossed in there by some people. It's just very interesting to see.
I
I
forgot about
guess like,
Walker.
hmm?
I forgot
Yeah,
about Walker. He
Larry
might be
Walker.
10 for me. I might have to drop Bret Hart.
I would drop Bret Hart for it.
I might have to drop Bret
Bodog
Hart.
going around trolling people with the Christine Sinclair thing, like just not Arash, but everybody who's asking about it.
Yeah.
So, hey, let us know what you think. Obviously, it's up for debate because we all come from a different perspective on who we think should be there.
We also come from different eras too, right? Like
We do.
someone who comes from a different era than you and me might have a very different impact ranking for athletes. So
Yeah, like a lot of people here that are a little bit older that are commenting are saying David Warner, right? But that wouldn't be someone we necessarily would pick
I
as a top
wouldn't pick
10.
him top 10, but he'd probably be top 15 for me.
Mm-hmm. Fergie Jenkins.
Yeah, I'd still take Walker over Jenkins.
Oh, I know. Somebody went, can Gretzky dunk or throw a baseball? Like, okay.
Yep.
Now it's getting a little ridiculous. I'm gonna stop, but
He
there
actually
you go.
can throw a baseball. It's been proven. A half decent. Not a great ball, but half decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one, Irfan. I like that one. Well done. My final thought is Russian athletes have been getting removed from sporting. Haas today announced that they have canned their driver. Now, I've seen mixed reviews about this one because he was also kind of a dangerous driver on the F1 circuit.
Yeah.
But like some people are like, I don't agree with why, but I do agree with the fact that he probably shouldn't be on the circuit. I'm like, okay, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting situation when it comes to players or athletes not being allowed to compete on teams or whatever. We've seen a lot of non-Russian athletes leave Russian teams.
Yeah.
Um,
Coaches.
Lots of coaches as well. Over the next few weeks or however long this is going on, it's going to be interesting to see who actually stays with their teams and who can no longer do it. Also, huge down to the Washington Capitals for banning Ukrainian and Russian flags at their games
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want people to be offended by a Ukrainian flag. Listen, if someone's getting offended by a Ukrainian flag right now, it says a lot about them. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So with that, we are done, my friend. If you're looking to follow us on Twitter, it's at Garage Door Sport, at Garage Door Sports on Instagram. Make sure you add that S. If you're looking for us individually, it's at Nick McVicker and at Irfan Manji because we like to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you tune in next week. We will have more sports talk for you. Hopefully, Kyle will be back. And until then, thank you for listening. We will see you next time.